Hello, and thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of the 2024 Commodore 64 Repairathon on yet another retro channel. This is, as I said, episode 3 of the 2024 Commodore 64 Repairathon. If you haven't watched the first 2 parts, you can check them out in the link above. And I'll also put a link up there for last year's Repairathon, so if you want to go back and watch that, you can. So this is machine number 5 in the Repairathon. We've fixed 1, 3, and 4. Number 2 is missing all of its ICs. It's been plundered, so we'll get back to that. But this one has a note mentioning bad power switch, question mark, black screen, no power light. So let's see what's actually going on. I'm hooked up to the bench power supply, which is turned on, and I'm hooked up to our video capture. And let's see what we get. Well, we do have a black screen. It's actually killing my power supply. So there's a short in here somewhere, and there is no power light. So we do have a power issue, but I don't think it's the switch because the switch actually seems to work. So let's get this thing opened up and see what we've got. On the back, you'll see we have 2 of the feet and the other 2 are missing. I can replace those. And we do have all 3 screws. Okay, opening this up, we see we have, well, here's the reason we don't have a power light. We're disconnected. Keyboard's also disconnected. So we'll set that aside. Now we have the cardboard shield here in this one. And we have a 250466. That's one I haven't worked on before. But what do we have? So we have a 6567 R9 again. So that's again a rare vic-ii. I was getting the black screen with the white lines, so that implies at least that this might be working. So we might be in good shape there. We also have a 6581 R4AR, so hopefully that SID will be working. Now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to pull both the SID and the vic-ii because they are, as I said, a little special. I don't want to take chances with them. There's the SID. Not overly fond, I don't think, of this blue socket that the vic-ii is in. I may change that just on principle. Okay. With those 2 chips removed, we're going to test some voltages. So we're on DC voltage, and we're going to check the regulators. We definitely have a short going on because it was triggering the overvoltage protection on my power supply. That would be on the 5-volt line. At the moment, I just want to check the 12-volt and the 5-volt that are being generated by the 9-volt input, 9-volt AC input. So we'll check these real quick. I'm not keeping this on too long because something is obviously shorted. And it still is. But our 5 volts is good. And our 12 volts is good. So that power is working fine. I've never worked on a 466 board before, so I'm going to have to look things up as I go along. The only chips that were in sockets were the vic-ii, the SID, and the clock generator. All right, let's bring up the ZIF machine real quick and check our vic-ii and our SID. See where we stand with those. Start with the vic-ii, see if we have a good vic-ii. And we do. Our vic-ii is just fine. That's definitely good news. Now, for the SID, we'll start with just a basic operational test of the machine to make sure the SID isn't killing any address or data buses or anything, it isn't shorted out. And then we'll put a cartridge in and see if we can get sound. Oh, that's not good. Without the SID, we're good. But we put the SID in. And we're black screen. So it looks like our R4AR is dead. Well, not too much of a surprise, but a very big disappointment. I would have loved to have had that chip be intact. Now, I think we just need to go ahead and get this board out of its shell here. And I'm going to need to desolder the shield from the back. At the back of the board, I don't see any evidence of rework. And what else do we see on the board? I'm not seeing any MOS logic chips. Date codes are all 86. So this is a late revision. I wonder where our short is. Well, this will be fun. It's not going to be the ceramic caps. They just don't do that. Unless we've got legs touching each other. Have the meter in continuity mode now. So we're going to start checking for things that are shorted. Yeah, both positive and negative rails are shorted to ground. It won't be the vic-ii or the SID because they don't use that 5 volts. Let's see. 6. Definitely shorted to ground. 1.5 ohms there. Check the ROMs. Right now, my best candidate is the kernel ROM. But if what happened to this board is that it was one of the unlucky few that got blasted by an overvoltage from a bad power supply, there could be carnage all the way across this thing. I'm going to change the character ROM, or the kernel ROM. I'm going to pull that out and see if that fixes anything. Just having that out of the board. And we'll go from there. Did that get rid of our short? No. Let's move on to character. Did that remove our short? Nope. Just so we know where we stand, let's go ahead and check our kernel and character ROMs and see if they're working. Here is kernel. No, and it is burning up. So that's definitely shorted. Wow. I think we're going to see carnage on this machine. How is character? Nope. Character doesn't work either. This is not looking good. Yep, burning up. Wow. I'm not going to get the heat, so I can't use a thermal cam or thermometer that I have. I can't use that in this case because my power supply is going into overcurrent protection, so there's never enough power running through the chips on the dead board for me to look for heat. However, when I put them one by one into the ZIF board, it draws more than it should, but it doesn't go into overcurrent protection. So that's why I'm able to feel the heat on when the chips are moved into the ZIF board, but not when they're in the original machine. So 2 dead ROMs. May as well pull the third one. Okay, that take care of the short? I'm betting on no. .9K. .9K. 0.9K. That took care of the short. So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to plug in my bench power supply and see if we still go into overvoltage protection. Overcurrent rather protection. And yes, it does seem we do. So we're not out of the woods yet. Okay, I hate to say this, but I think this has become a salvage mission. From what I can tell, this board had a massive power surge on the 5 volts coming in through the from the power supply. Everything that's on the 9 volt power rail, 9 volts AC that's converted to 5 volts and 12 volts DC, all of this seems to be working. And the VIC-ii is functional. The SID's gone, and we've lost at least 3 of the ROMs. I'm guessing I'm going to find that the CIAs and the CPU are also bad, and the PLA. So I'm going to pull these 4 chips off and test them If any of them are good, I'll put them into spares. And this board is going to have to wait because I just do not have enough spares to repopulate the entire thing. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the other chips and test them and see where we stand, see if we can get any more salvageable chips besides just the VIC-2. Let's test the CPU and the PLA. Make sure the ZIF board's still working, and it is. Is our CPU fried? I'm guessing yes, but we'll see. Yep, CPU is fried. PLA. PLA is fried. It's partially working, but not good enough to be useful. So, dead PLA, dead CPU. The only chance we have of getting anything more useful out of that board, there are the two CIAs and RAM. CIAs coming out. Check the CIA, well, check the ZIF board. Still working correctly. CIA1 is fried. And CIA2 also fried. Okay. This board was almost total carnage. As I said, I got to assume that it got a massive power spike. The only thing we managed to salvage off of it is the 6567R9, which does work, tested good in the ZIF board. We lost the CIAs, the ROMs, the CPU, the PLA, the SID. I'm guessing we probably lost a lot of the logic and probably even the memories as well, but I'm not even going to test those because unless I need them specifically for something, I've got replacements for all the logic chips. I've got replacements for 2114 SRAMs, and I believe I even have replacements for 464s, so I don't need those. I was hoping to get some salvaged main MOS ICs, but the only thing we got was a VIC-2. So this is going to be a flop. We're not going to get this one fixed. I apologize for that, but let's move on to the next one. If you're enjoying the video, please go ahead and give it a like. That really helps the channel out. If you haven't subscribed already, you can go ahead and do that too. And if you're really feeling generous, click the join button below and become a channel member. I'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Number 6 also has a note. It says 1434 bytes, text color rainbow, and no cursor. I assume that means cursor on 9516. So that is the set of symptoms we're looking for. So let's take a look at what we get. We do have a power light, and we're getting a black screen, so we do not have the same symptoms as listed on the little note. So let's pop this sucker open and take a look. With 3 of the 4 feet and all 3 screws. Cracking the case. Oh, interesting. Okay, we have a 425. So let's pop the RF shield off. I'm seeing a couple of screws on the RF shield, so someone has definitely been in here. Of course, we knew that. I'm seeing 84 date codes. We have a standard 6581 SID, a regular MOS PLA, and an R8 VIC-2 chip. We have sockets everywhere, which is a good thing. We have 1 socketed RAM chip, well, and then we have empty RAM everywhere else. We have 1, 2, 3 MOS branded logics there. Everything else appears to be standard logic. And of course we have the clock generator IC, which, since I was getting a black screen, is probably working. So, where to start? Well, let's start with that test. Actually, no. Smart thing to do is start with voltages. Let's make sure the voltages are good. 5.45, that's not good. 12.04 is good. We are 5.45 on the VIC-2 rail is not a good thing. I'm guessing we have a bad voltage regulator. So, the VIC-2 and the SID are on that rail. I'm going to pull them both off. We'll test them in a moment in the ZIF machine. And let's see if we're still getting that. 5.48, yeah. That regulator is not good. So we're going to have to change that at the very least. Let's take a look at the ZIF machine and see if those 2 chips are working. Try our VIC-2. Yes, our VIC-2 is working. So that's good. And now the SID. In this case, we will use the dead test to see if we can get sound. I have to put my Vic back in. I'm not going to get anything without it. Here we go. So the SID doesn't seem to be killing anything, but whether it works or not. Okay, that's actually surprising. That sounds pretty good. Let us give it the real test of a SID. Well, I think that SID is mostly working. I heard a little bit of glitching at the very beginning, but that, again, I hope it's not, but it may be in my monitoring setup. Will determine when I go back to edit for sure whether I heard anything. But for now, we're going to call this, we're going to give it an M. And I'll actually give it, once I hear the playback in editing, I will determine whether I can call that a good SID or a starting to go bad one. And we have to return the vic-ii to the board, but we do not have to return the SID, so we're going to set that aside for now. And now we need to replace this voltage regulator. So let me get this little guy out of here. Okay, there's a shield removed. Board is rather filthy. Okay. Now I need to get this off of the heatsink. Clean the thermal paste. Grab a replacement 7805. Pull the old regulator. Drop in our new regulator and get it bent properly. Yeah, that looks good. So thermal goo. Now just solder it in. And check our work. Let's see if that gives us a better 5 volts. .02. That's much better. And we're still getting 12 here. We are. And we've got a short on the board somewhere. We're getting 4.7 on the user port. And then we'll check AC. 9.9, so that's perfect there. So our voltages are now better. And a bad voltage regulator. Okay. Now the original report, so 1434 bytes, that's probably RAM. Text color rainbow. If that meant what I think it meant, that's a symptom I've seen before of a bad PLA. So let us pop our PLA out. Grab the ZIF board again. And pop our PLA out of here. And here's the PLA from the suspect machine. And what do we get when we use that PLA? Black screen. So that PLA is bad. Not a surprise. Okay, let's grab a replacement PLA. Where did they go? So, with a replacement PLA, and of course remembering this being a 425, the PLA goes here, the SID goes here. Let's see what we get out of this machine with a new PLA. Okay. We have a problem with memory because we're getting 1434 bytes, but we have a working machine. So let's run dead test and maybe figure out which of these MT RAMs are bad. Now, I should mention something here. Folks have asked me why I didn't replace the MT RAM in the earlier machine that had it, and why I didn't replace all the MOS logic in the earlier machines that had it. The goal of the Repairathon is to get the machines working, to repair the flaws, and to get them functional, but not to do the future proofing. So I can later go back on that machine and this machine eventually and replace the MOS logic, or the MOS logic chips and the MT RAM. But all I want to do in this video is get the machine working. So let's figure out which of the MT RAM is bad, and it could be one of these two, but it's more likely to be one of these MTs. Let's see what dead test has to say. That's one flash. Okay, one flash, according to the manual, is U12, which is this guy right here. So let's swap out. This guy right here is reporting bad. So we're going to pull him and replace him. Okay, one known good, 4164. That's not fitting in the socket. There we go. And now let's see what dead test says. Okay, we still have a problem with RAM, but it's not identifying which IC. It's the 0 page. So we're going to have to track this down. I'm not sure exactly how to do that. Let's see what happens without the dead test, see if we can get any indication. Well, that's the right number of bytes free this time, but dead test isn't working. Let's try the standard diagnostics. See what they tell us about the RAM. Well, that's odd. The regular diagnostics don't show any problem with the RAM. 0 page is fine. Try going back to dead test again. I just don't trust that. Here's dead test again. Looks like our previous run through dead test was an anomaly for some reason. Well, we'll keep testing this, but it looks like we might actually have got this machine working. CIA time of day timers are correct. Okay, that's a successful run through dead test. So let's hook up the harness and run it through the full diagnostics. Now, before I do that, though, I'm noticing the user port is filthy. So I'm going to use my little fiberglass pen to remove some of that corrosion. Make sure we don't get false bad readings. I'll do that on the front and the back. Clean up the cartridge port while I'm at it. Okay, here goes regular diagnostics. Okay, let me try reseating the user port dongle since that edge connector was so filthy. Make sure we're on there good and try again. Make sure. Okay, I do think that SID is definitely marginal. But let's figure out what's going on with our user port. Now, this CIA handles the user port, so let's just see if swapping out to a different CIA solves that problem. Make sure we don't have any bent or damaged pins on that one. We don't. Here's a tested and known good CIA. Okay, let's see what that does with the replacement CIA. Okay, we do have a marginal SID, and we have a marginal but not usable CIA. So, what is the tally on this board? We had a bad PLA, bad CIA, marginal SID, and a bad MT RAM chip. But other than that, we're all back to working. So that's machine number 5 that we failed to fix because it was just too catastrophic, and machine number 6 that we did fix with only a few replacements. So to recap, today was a mixed bag. Machine number 5 had a catastrophic failure. It lost almost all of its big MOS ICs to what appears to me to be a massive power surge. I can only assume that was one of the power bricks failing. So take that as a reminder. Don't use the original power bricks. There are several aftermarket power supplies that you can buy for the Commodore 64, or you can make your own. Machine number 6, that one was relatively quick and easy. Not too many failures, so we got that one back up and running. And now we can move on to machines 7 and 8, hopefully. Be sure to keep watching for the next video. And that'll be all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscriptions. And especially thank you for the comments. It is what keeps me going in this. Being able to engage with you folks and engage with this community, I really love that. So keep it up. I appreciate it. So stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye.